Welcome everyone, welcome to Clarity for Sure and welcome to a new session of DC MCQs, that is Daily Current Affair MCQs. So let's start our today's session. Before moving forward, please do subscribe our YouTube channel, follow us on Telegram as well. So let's start our today's session. So our first question is related to Marpol Annex 6. So this Marpol Annex 6 sometimes come across in newspapers, is associated with which of the following? This is the question. So let's find out. The first option is pollution from aircrafts. Option B is pollution from ships, pollution from ruminants, or pollution from agriculture, and there is finally the last option, none of these. Fine. So please do comment the answer. If you know the answer, please tell me on the comment box. And before that, let me give you a hint. This particular framework is related to one of the organization, that is IMO, International Maritime Organization. So now tell me, this particular regulation or framework is regulated with which of the following option? Fine. So let me tell you that this organization itself deal with the maritime security, safety and environmental concern related to shipping industry, right? Shipping industry. So this must be dealing with, this framework must be dealing with whom? With pollution from ships. So this is a regulation. The primary aim of this framework is to regulate pollution coming out from ships. It has also a protocol which allow to reward ships which achieved net zero target, right? And this is a framework, as I told you, this is a framework of IMO, International Maritime Organization, and it deals with the safety and security of maritime and shipping industry. As far as the pollution from ships are concerned, it is the regulator of this particular industry. Fine. So let's see some of the key points about IMO, that is International Maritime Organization. And so this was formed in the year 1948, but later on came into existence in 1958 after 10 years, right? And this is a organization of United Nations. Headquarter is in London, that is in UK. So these are very important thing regarding this particular organization. Fine. So let's move on to our next question, that is the Union Cabinet has approved a new 60,000 crore industrial training institute upgradation scheme, that is ITI upgradation scheme, aimed at upgrading around 1000 government run industrial training institute, that is ITIs, and establishing 5 national center for excellence for skilling. Consider the following statement as far as this ITI upgradation scheme is concerned. So let's find out which of these statements are correct. So our first statement is it will be co-financed by ADB and WB. ADB and WB. Is this statement right or not? You guys tell me if this statement is correct or not. Fine. So let's first go through all the statements. The second statement is ITI in India are overseen by Directorate General of Training under Ministry of MSME. Does it comes under the Ministry of MSME? This is question. Does it comes under Ministry of MSME or let's find out. The third statement is they will help to realize the targets of Skill India Mission. Skill India Mission. And the fourth statement is ITI also provide foreign placement. So let's go one by one through each statement. So our first statement is it will be co-financed by ADB and WB. So first of all, we need to know about the fund structure of this particular scheme. So under this 60,000 of budget, 30,000 will be 30,000 crore will be funded by central government, and under this 30,000 crore, 50% of the fund will be funded by whom? Funded by ADB, that is Asian Development Bank, and WB, that is World Bank. So this statement is correct. Fine. So this statement is correct. Let's move on to our next statement, that is ITI in India are overseen by Directorate General of Training under Ministry of MSME. Does this comes under the Ministry of MSME? What do you think? So this comes under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Fine. So it doesn't come under the Ministry of MSME. So this option is wrong, incorrect. Fine. So the third option is they will help to realize the targets of Skill India mission. This is the correct option. There is a provision that it will help to realize the targets of Skill India mission. So our option third is the correct option. Let's see option 4, that is ITI also provide foreign placement. Yes, ITIs also provide foreign placement as well, because they have some tie-ups with some of the foreign companies as well. So in this question 1, 3 and 4 are correct. So our correct answer will be option C, that is only 3 of the statement are correct. So let's see some of the key findings from this upgradation, ITI upgradation scheme. Fine. So ITI in India are overseen by Directorate General of Training under, as I have told you, ki ministry, it comes under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, that is MSDE. So our second option was correct because of this reason. So scheme duration and budget allocation is also there, which is also very important from the exam point of view. So it was launched in the budget 2024 to 25 and will run for how much year? For 5 years, right? 5 years. And the funding structure which I told you about, it is going to be funded by central government, the 30,000 crore, under which the 50% of the fund will be funded by ADB, that is Asian Development Bank, and WB, that is World Bank, and 20,000 crore will be funded from state government, and 10,000 crore will be funded by industry. Fine. So that is it for this question. Let's move on to our next question, that is question number 3, which is related to 2025 State Performance Ranking Report. By which organization? Care Age Ratings, which is a subsidiary organization of a Care Ratings, right? It has received wide media attention, although prepared by a private entity. This is a private company. It gained semi-official stature through a forward by the CEO of Niti Aayog. That's why it gained the semi-official status. Fine. Consider the following statement with respect to the particular report. Let's find out which of these statements are correct. Option A is top 3 states among large states are Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka. Fine. This is the first statement ki top 3 states among large states. Top 3 states are Maharashtra, Gujarat and Karnataka according to this particular report. Let's see. The second statement is the report evaluates states based on 7 pillars. Based on how many pillars? 7 pillars. Third one is the report promotes competitive federalism. Competitive federalism. So tell me which of these statements are correct. Only one, only two, 1 and 2 are correct, or 1 and 3 are correct, or all of the above are correct. That means all the 3 statements are correct. Please comment down the answer. Please comment the answer. So let's figure out which of these statements are correct. So as far as this report is concerned, first thing you need to understand कि there is 2 group under which states are kept on. The first one is group A and the second one is group B. Under group A there is only large states, and under group B there is only small states and some northeastern states, as well as some states from hilly areas as well. So this particular statement is talking about this group A. Fine. So under this group the top 3 performers are Maharashtra, Gujarat and Karnataka. So due to this reason, because of this reason, the first statement is correct. Fine. The second statement, which is the report evaluates states based on 7 pillars. Based on how many pillars? 7 pillars. So is this statement is correct? Is the statement correct? So this statement is correct because the report is based on 7 pillars. Fine, 7 pillars. The third one is the report promotes competitive federalism. It promotes competitive federalism. Competitive federalism among whom? Among the states. So our option C is also correct. And so here is the correct answer, and the answer will be option E, that is all are correct. Fine. So let's see some of the key findings of the report. First of all, let's see the 7 pillars on which the report is being based on. The first pillar is economic. Fine. Economic, fiscal, financial, infrastructure, social, governance and environment. These are the 7 pillars which the option was talking about. And the second thing is states are grouped into 2 categories. The first one is group A, consisting large states, and group B, it consists of northeastern state, hilly areas, smaller states. Fine. And each pillar has a specific number of weightage. Let's see. Economic, that is 25%, fiscal 20%, financial and infrastructure 15% each, social and governance 10% each, and the rest of the 5% is for environment. Fine. And the ranking, here are the top scorers from group A, that is Maharashtra, Gujarat and Karnataka. This is the first statement. So because of this reason, our first statement is correct. The top scorer from group A are Maharashtra, Gujarat and Karnataka. Group B, Goa, Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh. These are the lowest performers. From group A, it is Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand and Bihar. Group B, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur and Nagaland. That's it for this particular report. Let's move on to our next question. Our next question is related to India is poised to play a crucial role at 2025 World Bank Land Conference. World Bank Land Conference, which is set to take place from May 5th of May to 8th of May at World Bank headquarter. Where is World Bank headquarter? In Washington DC. Fine. A high level Indian delegation led by Shri Vivek Bhardwaj, Secretary of Ministry of Panchayati Raj, will present India's transformative Swamit scheme alongside with Gram Manchitra platform. Consider the following statement with respect to Swamit scheme. Fine. So let's find out some of the statements. So our first statement is कि this scheme, स्वामित्व scheme provides property owners in all आबादी areas with a record of rights. Record of rights. So tell me, our first statement is correct or not? Let's find out. The second statement is it focuses on digitizing and modernizing existing land records. Existing land records. Fine. So our correct answer here will be, both are correct or none of 1 and 2 are correct. Which will be the answer? Or 1 is correct or 2 is correct? Comment down the answer. If you know the answer, please do comment the answer. Fine. So let's find out. Our first statement is it provides property owners in all आबादी areas. See, जब भी ऐसा कोई statements आएगा, extreme statements आएंगी, see important, it is very important from the UPSC perspective. कोई भी aspirant अगर यूपीएससी का प्रिपरेशन कर रहे होंगे तो दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग फॉर देम कि अगर इस तरह का कोई भी एक्सट्रीम स्टेटमेंट्स या एक्सट्रीम वर्ड यूज़ की जाती है कोई स्टेटमेंट्स में, जैसे कि ऑल, तो मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस ये स्टेटमेंट्स रॉन्ग होंगी, गलत होंगी. दिस स्टेटमेंट विल बी इनकरेक्ट, नॉट ऑल द टाइम बट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, राइट. सो बिकॉज ऑफ द एक्सट्रीम नेचर ऑफ दिस स्टेटमेंट. फाइन. सो फॉर दिस रीजन दिस स्टेटमेंट इज इनकरेक्ट. Let's see our second statement. It focuses on digitizing and modernizing existing land records. Digitizing and modernizing existing land records. Fine. So this statement is correct or not? This statement is correct or not? You guys tell me. So this statement is also incorrect. This statement is also incorrect because the scheme which this particular statement is talking about, it is scheme called Digital India Land Records Modernization Program, and this program, this scheme was launched in the year 2016. In 2016, but before that ये स्कीम उससे पहले भी हुआ करता था. दिस वाज ओरिजिनली लॉन्च इन द ईयर 2008. फाइन. बट लेटर ऑन रीनेम्ड एज डिजिटल इंडिया लैंड रिकॉर्ड मॉडर्नाइजेशन प्रोग्राम. फाइन. उससे पहले इनका नाम क्या था? इस स्कीम का नाम जो था वो था नेशनल लैंड रिकॉर्ड्स मॉडर्नाइजेशन प्रोग्राम. बट उसका इन 2016 रीनेम करके दिस स्कीम वाज रीनेम्ड एज डिजिटल इंडिया लैंड रिकॉर्ड मॉडर्नाइजेशन प्रोग्राम. फाइन. So because of this reason this statement is also incorrect. Both of the statement are incorrect. So the answer here will be none, 1 and 2 are correct. Fine. So let's see some of the key highlights of Swamitva scheme. It was a scheme launched in the year 2021 in National Panchayati Raj Day. Fine. And this is under the Ministry of Panchayati Raj. The two features of this scheme is it will map the land parcels in rural areas. Using which technology? Using drone technology. Fine. Using drone technology. And the second provision which is there, and it will provide record of right to whom? To the owner of land. What is record of right? Record of right is basically which consists of all the information about the land, especially about the ownership of the land, and it will be provided to whom? To the owner of that particular land in form of property card or deed, and this is a complete centrally sponsored scheme, fine. This is complete centrally sponsored scheme. So let's see some of the more details about Swamittva scheme. So as we discussed, this scheme was launched in the year 24th of April 2021, National Panchayati Raj Day, and survey of village abadi and mapping with improvised technology in village areas. This is the full form of the scheme, and the nodal ministry under which it is going to function is Ministry of Panchayati Raj in collaboration with Rajya Panchayati Raj departments, state revenue departments and Survey of India. Fine, these are the two features of this scheme. That's it for this scheme. And the second scheme, our second scheme was Digital India Land Records Modernization Program. Fine. So it was launched in the year 2016. Before that, this scheme name was National Land Records Modernization Program. Fine. And that scheme was launched in the year 2008, and the nodal ministry under which it functions is Ministry of Rural Development. Fine. So let's move on to our next question, that is which is related to Indo-Pacific Logistic Network. So how many countries are part of Indo-Pacific Logistic Network? It was recently seen in news, that's why this question is framed. So the options are here 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. What do you think? What is the correct answer? So let me give you a hint. Quad. So the countries which are part of this logistic network is also part of Quad, that is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. Fine. So the correct answer here will be option D. 4 countries which are there is India, Australia, Nepal. Fine. So the 4 countries which are there are India, United States, Japan and Australia, and this particular logistic networks is, the primary aim of this network is to shared logistic framework to enable efficient and coordinated civilian disaster response across which region? Across Indo-Pacific region in the time of natural disaster. Fine. And the signatory of this network are also part of Quad. The first one is India, United States, Japan and Australia. Let's see some of the key findings of Quad. Quad officially Quadrilateral Security Dialogue is a group of 4 countries, right? United States, Australia, India and Nepal, and it came into existence in 2004 during the tsunami in Indian Ocean region, and the primary aim of this group was to coordinate response and assistance to countries in the region. Fine. So let's move on to our next question, that is which is related to bonds. Fine. So Exim Bank withdraw its planned 2500 crore 10-year bond issuance after investors demanded higher than expected yields according to multiple market sources. So if the bond is withdrawn before maturity, it is called as what? Collateralized bond, unsecured bonds, convertible bonds, scalable bonds or putable bonds. What is the correct answer? You guys tell me in the comment section. See, if the bond is withdrawn before maturity date, by whom? By the issuer of bond. That could be any financial institution or bank. Fine. What is bond? Bond is issued by any financial institution or banks or government in order to raise capital, raise funding from the market, right? Funding from the market, and badle mein investor got their returns. Fine. So let's figure out which of them is the correct option for this question. Collateralized bond. Collateralized bond, what is it? It is a bond which is backed by asset or mortgages. Fine. So these are the low risk bonds because they are backed by assets or mortgages. Second one is unsecured bonds. These are bonds which are not backed by assets or mortgages. Fine. So these are high risk bonds. High risk bonds. Convertible bonds, these bonds can be converted to shares. Callable bonds, when the bond is withdrawn or redeemed before the maturity period, by whom? By maturity period, by whom? By the issuer of bond. Issuer of bond, this bond will be known as callable bond. Callable bond. Fine. And the date, the earlier date in which the bond is being withdrawn will be known as call date. Fine. Call date. Here is putable bonds. When the bond is withdrawn by investors, the one who gave money, and it will be withdrawn before it will be redeemed before the maturity period, it will be known as putable bonds, and the date, the earlier date will be known as put date. Fine. So this is the concept of these types of bonds. So here the correct answer will be, if bond is withdrawn before maturity, it is called as callable bonds. Callable bonds. Fine. Let's move on to our next question. That is, which one of the following is not a feature of bank bonds? What is bank bonds? A bond which is issued by banks. Fine. So these are some of the features. Let's find out which is not a feature of bank bond. So our first feature is no ownership rights. Second is fixed term, no voting rights, variable return, or all are its features. What do you think among these four, which is not a feature of bank bond? Let's find out. Our first option is no ownership rights. No ownership rights are present किनके पास? Investors के पास. No ownership of the banks are present to investors. So this is a feature of bank bond. So for that reason this option is incorrect. We are finding which is not a feature of bank bond. The second one is fixed term. It is issued for a fixed term. So option B is also a feature of bank bond. So this option is also incorrect. C is no voting rights. No voting rights for whom? No voting rights for whom? Investors. See, investors do not have any voting rights as far as the management of the bank is concerned. Fine. So they do not have any voting rights. So is this a feature of bank bond? Yes, this is a feature of bank bond. So this option is also incorrect. Variable return, variable return. So these two options are contradicting each other. Fine. So this could not be a feature of bank bond. So this option is incorrect. So the correct answer here will be option D. Fine. Variable return is not a feature of bank bonds. So let's find out some of the feature of bank bonds. Fine. So first of all, the ownership rights. See, as far as the ownership rights are concerned, no ownership rights are given to investors. So our this is a feature of bank bonds. So our first option was incorrect. Risk lower but fixed return. Fixed return, right? Fixed return. So this is also a feature of bank bond. Return interest payments, maturity fixed term, right? Fixed term. So and the finally control or influence, that is the voting rights. So there is no voting right for the investor in the banking management. So these are the features of bank bonds. So for that reason, the incorrect option here is variable return. There is only fixed return. Fixed return. Right, fixed return. Fine, so option D is the correct answer. Let's move on to our next question, that is the overall spread between the weighted average lending rate. What is weighted average lending rate? We'll see. And weighted average domestic term deposit rate fell to 2.71% in March 2025. A 10-year low down 5 basis points month on month. Spread on fresh loans fell sharply by 22 basis points to 2.7% during the same period. Fine. So fell to 2.7% in March 2025, a 10-year low. So fine. So this concept is very important now. So which of the following is probable usage of WALR, that is weighted average lending rate? So what is weighted average lending rate? See, it is an average lending rate, in which the banks lend their money to borrowers, right? It is the average lending rate, average interest rate, जिसमें कि बैंक्स अपने पैसों को बोरोवर्स को देती है मार्केट में. फाइन. और ये कैलकुलेट कैसे होता है? ये कैलकुलेट होता है बाय कंसिस्टिंग ऑल द loans, all the type of loans. It could be a corporate loan or private loan. Fine. So our first uses of WALR, that is weighted average lending rate, is it compare lending rates across bank. Let's find out. Assess competitiveness in the lending market. Fine. See, gauge transmission of monetary policy by central bank, monitor sector specific trends. Fine. So these are the 4 uses of WALR. So the question is ki these four, among these 4, which of them are the use cases of WALR? So let's find out. Our first option is compare lending rates across banks. It helps to compare the lending rate across all banks. Fine, all banks. So see, as far as the average lending rate are concerned, जब भी एवरेज लेंडिंग रेट आपको पता होगा सारे बैंक्स का, तो इट विल बी इजियर टू कंपेयर द लेंडिंग रेट्स ऑफ मल्टीपल बैंक्स. सो दिस ऑप्शन इज ऑब्वियसली करेक्ट. दिस इज अ यूजेज ऑफ WALR. सेकेंड ऑप्शन, एसेस कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इन द लेंडिंग मार्केट. आपके कॉम्पिटिटर्स का क्या है वेटेड एवरेज लेंडिंग रेट, ये आपको पता होगा, तो ऑब्वियसली इट विल एक्सेस द कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इन द lending market. Fine. So for that reason our option B is also correct. Option C, gauge transmission of monetary policy by central banks. by central banks. This option is also correct. And monitor sector specific trends. See, first thing कि अगर ये तीनों correct है तो for that obvious reason कि the answer must be all. But it monitor, but let's see कि what the option is about. This is about monitoring sector specific trends कि sector में अभी क्या trends है वो हम लोग वेटेड एवरेज लेंडिंग रेट से पता लगा सकते हैं. ठीक है, दिस इज द स्टेटमेंट. सो ऑप्शन डी विल बी ऑल्सो अ यूज केसेस ऑफ WALR. सो और करेक्ट आंसर हेयर विल बी ऑप्शन ई, दैट इज ऑल ऑफ द अबव. सो लेट्स सी सम ऑफ द बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट अबाउट वेटेड एवरेज लेंडिंग रेट. सो इट इज द एवरेज लेंडिंग रेट, in which bank lends their money to whom? To the borrowers. It is the average interest rate in which the bank lend their money to whom? To the borrowers. Fine. And this is a definition, represent the average interest on all outstanding loans weighted by loan size, making it accurate than a simple average. It is more accurate than a simple average, and obviously larger loan influence the WALR more than smaller loans. Fine. This is the formula of WALR. Changes as loans are added, repaid or modified. There is a change in weighted average lending rate whenever there is change in loans are added, right? Repaid or modified. It reflects the loan portfolio composition and prevailing interest rate trend. It includes all type of loan, including retail and corporate loan as well. Fine. So this was the concept of weighted average lending rate. Let's move on the next question, that is question 9. Question 9 is related to RBI Act of 1934. This is the topic. This is a very broad topic and very important topic from the examination point of view, like SEBI or RBI or NABARD or any regulatory body examination. Fine. So let's find out first read the question. The RBI is likely to transfer a record of 3 lakh crore surplus. Surplus, as you all know, it is the difference between income and expenditure, right? It is the difference between income and expenditure to the central government for financial year 25. This is 50% higher than financial year 24's 2.1 lakh crore transfer and well above the budget estimate. Budget estimate से भी बहुत ज़्यादा है. That was 2.3 lakh crore. Which section of the RBI Act of 1934 mentions transfer of surplus to the central government? You guys tell me under which section RBI transfers its surplus to the central government of India. Fine. So the options are option A 41, 42, 43, section 45 or section 47. What will be the correct answer here? So the correct answer here will be section 47. Under section 47, RBI must transfer its surplus to the central government of India. Fine. RBI must transfer its surplus to the central government of India. So let's discuss some of the more section which also becomes very important from the examination point of view, क्योंकि ये section, that is section 47 current affairs में आ चुका है, न्यूज़ में आ चुका है. Fine. So there are some more sections. First of all, there is section 47 that RBI must transfer surplus to the central government after risk provision, right? And section 42 states that RBI is exempt from income and super tax. Section 49 is also there, deals with the publication of the bank rate. Bank rate. Section 50 outlines the provision regarding the National Housing Credit Long Term Operation Fund. Right? These are the 4 sections which is also very important from examination point of view. Fine. So let's move on to our next question, that is question 10. Question number 10, it is about REITs and InvITs. So on May 8, 2025, SEBI issued a revised disclosure guidelines for real estate investment trusts, right, and infrastructure investment trust, that is InvITs. How many REITs are presently operating in India? How many REITs are presently operating in India? This is the question. So you guys tell me which of these is the correct answer. So our option is 1 REITs, 2 REITs, 3, 4 or 5. So currently in India, how many REITs are? That is real estate investment trust are operating inside India. So the correct answer here will be option C or D. Option D is the correct answer. There are 4 REITs who are currently operating inside the India. So let's understand what is REITs, that is real estate investment trust. See, जब भी कभी भी डेवलपमेंट की बात होती है विद इन द कंट्री, सो द मेजर प्रॉब्लम विच अ गवर्नमेंट फेसेस इज फंडिंग इशू सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. फाइन. तो इसके लिए एक ट्रस्ट बनाई गई, दैट इज रियल एस्टेट इन्वेस्टमेंट ट्रस्ट. सो दिस ट्रस्ट इशू MFU, दैट इज म्यूचुअल फंड यूनिट्स. क्यों इशू करती है? इन ऑर्डर टू बोरो मनी फ्रॉम मार्केट. ये इशू करती है म्यूचुअल फंड यूनिट्स. क्यों इशू करती है? मार्केट से पैसा बोरो करने के लिए. और ये फंड जो भी बोरो की जाती है, ये डायरेक्टली किस पे यूज की जाती है? ये यूज की जाती है रियल इस्टेट्स के डेवलपमेंट में, रियल इस्टेट्स के प्रोजेक्ट्स में. फाइन. और इससे होता क्या है? इससे जो इन्वेस्टर्स है उन्हें उनका रिटर्न मिल जाता है. फाइन. दे गॉट देयर रिटर्न्स. एंड जो ट्रस्ट है, जो रियल इस्टेट इन्वेस्टमेंट ट्रस्ट है, उनको उनकी फंडिंग मिल जाती है, उनको उनकी फाइनेंस मिल जाती है, कैपिटल मिल जाती है. फाइन. सो सेम फॉर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन्वेस्टमेंट ट्रस्ट. राइट. इनमें क्या होता है? इनमें द सेम कॉन्सेप्ट इज फॉर देम ऑल्सो. दे बिकॉज दे आर ट्रस्ट. इफ दे वेयर कंपनी, अगर वो कंपनी होते, फाइन, तो they'll issue bonds, but they are trust, that's why they'll issue units, that is mutual fund units, and they'll borrow the capital, the money from market. और वो जो मनी है वो किस सेक्टर के लिए यूज की जाएंगी? इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स में यूज की जाएंगी, लाइक रोड्स, बिल्डिंग्स, टोल प्लाजाज एटसेट्राज. सी, इन प्रोजेक्ट्स में ये फंड यूज की जाएगी. बदले में इन्हें क्या मिलेगा? इन्वेस्टर विल गॉट देयर रिटर्न एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन्वेस्टमेंट ट्रस्ट विल गॉट देयर व्हाट? कैपिटल, फाइनेंस, फंडिंग. फाइन. तो दिस इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ REITs and InvITs. So recently SEBI has introduced a new guidelines regarding real estate investment fund. So what is it? Let's see. So the security, that is SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, has issued a regulation to establish guidelines for creation of small and medium real estate investment trust, that is SM REITs. It is very important from exam point of view, because small and this particular guidelines has been created by SEBI. Fine. So what is SM REIT? It is a type of real estate investment trust that can have an asset value of at least 50 crore. At least 50 करोड़ तक इसका एसेट वैल्यू होना चाहिए, जो कि कंपैरिजन टू रियल इस्टेट इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड अभी कितना है, रेट्स का अभी है ₹500 crore फॉर रेगुलर रेट्स. फाइन. सो दिस वाज द रिसेंट अपडेट अबाउट rates. A new guidelines was introduced by SEBI. This is very important from exam point of view. So let's move on to our next question, that is question 11, and today's last question, that is SEBI has set a minimum investment threshold of how much crore for securitized debt instruments SDIs to regulate originators and enhance investor protection. To enhance investor protection, the new rules mandate a minimum of how many years of operating experience for originators and risk retention requirements. कितने टाइम के लिए किया गया है और कितना अमाउंट किया गया है फॉर securitized debt instruments. The options are 1 crore 2 years, 2 crore 1 year, 1 crore 3 years, 3 crore for 1 year, and none of the above. So here the correct answer will be option C. Option C is the correct answer. It is done for 1 crore and for 3 years. Fine. So let's see what is the concept of securitized debt instruments. Fine. So it is basically a financial product which help to create, which is created by bundling of various types of debts such as mortgages, loans or receivables. Fine. And converting whom these debt to tradable securities so that they will be purchased in market, right? They will be purchased in market, and this process is done by SPV, that is special purpose vehicle. And investor then purchase these securities and earn returns based on the repayments. Repayments by whom? Repayments by borrowers. Repayments by borrowers made on the underlying loans, and this process as a whole is known as securitization. It is a very, very important topic. So let's understand what is securitization. So it refers to the process of converting debt, that is asset, usually liquid assets, into securities which are then bought and sold in the financial markets by investors. Fine. So this is the process. Bank, financial institution will collect money into a pool and division of pool into small parts and selling them as securities, and this process I was talking about, this is done by SPV, that is special purpose vehicle. And then buyers of this security will get interest mortgage payment, and these securities are called mortgage backed securities. And there are some usefulness and limitation of securitization. So let's see what is usefulness of this. It will help to boost liquidity because it helps to borrow money from the market, right? The second one is help raising funds, portfolio diversification, quality returns, right? And there is also some limitations. These are risky for lenders, difficult to access the risk factor in securities. So that's it for securitization, and that's it for today's session. Thank you so much. Hope you guys like the video. If you like the video, please do subscribe our channel, our YouTube channel, and follow us on Telegram as well. Thank you so much.